what happened was, initially I found myself suspended and in a place where there was no place. It was just, I felt the presence of my body and a grayness or just suspension and nothing. And as I wondered about what was around me, I saw in front of me start to envelop this light that coalesced. Couldn't tell the distance to the light, but it coalesced as a ball. And I marveled at this ball because it was infinite. And it seemed to be the presence I was suspended in that actually took form in front of me. And I spent some time just gaping at this because there was nothing around this ball. This ball contained the universe. Somehow I knew that. And there was nothing, no dimensions, no time, no space, no thing. It was not something my mind could wrap itself around. And I recognized in retrospect, it had to take the form of the ball for me to discern it. The mind can only operate with distinction, what is and what is not. And so it made that distinction for me. As I continued to marvel at this and wonder what was happening to me, I started drawing towards this light that had such presence and such love to it. And as I started moving towards it or it moving towards me, there was no reference point to understand who was doing what. I had what many people have called a kind of a life review. And the review for me were events in my life that really defined who Jim was, who I feel my sense of self is, my sense of self-esteem and identity. And most of them were around places I've struggled and been stuck with. And as I experienced an event, it seemed to resolve in my mind and would disappear, and another event would emerge. And with each disappearance, the light got brighter and brighter and brighter. And eventually, I began to feel as if I was actually on the edge and then being enveloped by the light. And I felt my legs filling with this light, this presence, this love, this infinite unity, acceptance, absolutely no judgments. All the judgments I had entertained in the life review were mine. And as I let them go, I actually was able to release closer and closer to this light. And as I began to move into the light, as I say, the light filled my legs, it started filling my arms, and I began to feel as if I was just dissolving into this infinite presence, this infinite love that was drawing me. But I stopped, and I stopped because if I allowed myself to go further, I would lose the sense of self, and I would lose the capacity for choice, to choose to be part of the light or not. Who Jim was would disappear. And so that scared me. What would happen once I lost that ability to be separate? So I withdrew and felt my body become more solid. Again, there was no other events or experiences I had. It was a very timeless feeling to it. And the light was compelling. It was just, it embodied everything in the universe. And so I drew again in towards the light. And then withdrew, and I played on this boundary for what seemed like hours. And the furthest I went was to the point where I lost contact with my body. My body seemed to become the light, and all I had left was really my choice, my own volition of Jim and the light. There was a separation in consciousness that I knew in reality was one, but that I still, I never went beyond to lose the ability of my volitional choice, because I don't know what would have happened. So eventually I just withdrew, and without my choice and without me realizing that I had made any kind of a significant change. I was just kind of wondering what would happen. The light began to fade, and metaphorically, I turned around and looked at this world again. I saw the world that I had momentarily left, and it looked like so much paper mache. It looked like two-dimensional fluff, that this was the illusion, and it was all contained within this infinite presence. And as it became more and more solid, I recognized that within 3 weeks, the experience, the intensity of the knowingness and the experience that I was immersed in would be lost, that there was no way my phenomenal mind could contain that. And as you can tell, I'm grasping for words to try to describe what I was actually experiencing. And another awareness came to as well, is that the phenomenal world is part of a larger, not part of a larger whole. It is the infinite. It's the infinite in form. It's the fracturing of the infinite into the myriad creations of this universe. And yet it's all one. And to have a phenomenal world, for me to be talking to you, requires separation. It requires me, you, separation in time, two entities. My ability to choose while in the presence of this light required, again, that separation. Reality, there is no separation. But in the illusion we've created here in this phenomenal world that we play in, requires it. It's not that it's paper mache and less than, it's just that it's required to be at this level for us to experience this level of life. What I see in people that go through deep crisis or have near-death experiences, they seem to integrate a larger aspect of themselves. They are unafraid of death, as I am. I am afraid of dying, that my body would resist that greatly. But I know, and I emphatically know, that I am not this finite body here. This is something that I have. I've returned, and my mission in the world is to communicate what I know as best I can to others. We only have our 3D beliefs here to try to understand this, something that's not contained within it. And there is no way I can find words to describe the light. The nearest would be, it was infinite. It not encompasses everything, it's the source of everything. And it's not a thing itself. The light was light, as I stated, in a finite form for me to perceive it. And yet it's what we're immersed in. The effects of this experience was recognizing that who I am is the universe in form. And it's done a couple of things. One is shake my own sense of self from this egoic physical structure that's trying to survive the best it knows how through, a dangerous world, to seeing this incredible matrix and dance of life that this body is part of. And yet that dance of all of life is part of me as well. There's no separation. One of the outcomes of that is that my deep desire is to help others, to serve. This is a very, very common element you see in people going through extreme trauma or near-death experiences, is that they pop out the other side and say, wow, let's go play. Let's go help. It's not about my bank account or the size of my house. It's about all of us waking up to more than what we see on the planet right now.